Hi, everybody, and guess what? I suck. I suck because I am terrible about being able to calculate Pacific time from Eastern time. So we're on at a regular time instead of 11 o'clock like I advertised. So everybody sit back, grab some popcorn. We're going to have a really, really good show tonight. And thank you for joining us here at the Mother De La Morte show. We have got a fantastic artist here tonight. And you know, Mother De La Morte, I'm an artist myself, so we love to pick the brains of other artists. Hello, everybody. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of information on the guests we're going to be having tonight. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be interviewing an amazing artist out of Seattle. Robert is a mixed media artist with a background in his talent just ranges in so many different areas, and he works with all sorts of mediums, including like paints and clays and even metals. He's got some awesome metalwork art that he's done. So please join me in welcoming tonight artist Robert Brown to the PBDC TV family.
Thank you very
Hi,
much.
Robert. How are you?
Great. How are
We are
you doing?
so glad to have you on the Mother De La Morte show.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, you know, we love to have all kinds of people in the crypt, especially when it comes to the strange and unusual and the art and things like that. So I am super, super stoked tonight to have you on. So just to kind of get things going a little bit, if you want to tell everybody kind of just a little bit about you.
hmm Yeah, I have been, I guess, an artist since probably about 25 years now, I suppose. I've worked in all kinds of mediums, like you
Hmm.
were saying. Um, Ceramic was my main medium for many, many years. And then in the last probably 10 or 15 years, I got into metalwork by chance, by doing automotive things like that. But really just started to branch off and then opened a gallery in Santa Ana called the Night Gallery. We were there for about 15 years and then moved up to Seattle about 4 years ago and then trying to get plugged into the scene up here as far as dark art and galleries and meeting people. But I've always enjoyed dark art. It's always been something that's always been very close to my heart and things I enjoy doing.
And I can absolutely agree there. How are you being received as far as a dark artist? Because the ones of us that really do see, I guess the best way to put it is beauty in things that either A, tend to scare people, or B, just tend to be in the more macabre, type genre, so to speak. Um, Sometimes you're welcomed really well, and sometimes it's kind of a, I don't know what to say. It's a little bit more of a struggle. But I imagine you guys being Seattle, are you being received really well there in the dark art community?
It's hard to break into a new area. Like, so we were pretty established in
Mhm.
Southern California, known for our gallery and our dark artwork that we had and things that I'd made. Um, like I said, it's been a little more struggle to just kind of break into it because it isn't that well received. It isn't
Mhm.
something that's always financially viable, which can be a real struggle, especially if it's something you really love doing and trying to promote yourself within galleries, what we consider normal work and things like that. So for me, I would really have to be accepted in galleries that would allow me to show
Mhm.
dark artwork is really just up the quality of my work and make it very, very outstanding as far as finish things like that. And I think that people can appreciate that no matter what genre it is.
Right. And I can completely agree because I've seen some of the pictures of your work, and your range is just so phenomenal. I mean, there are pieces there that do get kind of more into like the darker aspects, but a lot of your like ceramics and things like that are just absolutely beautiful, and um could really fit into any type of decor or things like that. But yeah, I was kind of prone to ask you that question because myself being down here in the South, that genre is kind of opening up more, but we do us dark artists do find it a little difficult. to find those galleries and connect with the groups that really dig the dark art, because it's
Mhm.
absolutely beautiful in my opinion.
I think so too. And it really evokes something out of something inside you. You're really pulling something out and exposing that people. It can be very vulnerable at times.
Hmm.
But you know, I don't know if I've scared somebody with my work, I know I've done my job, and that's why I really enjoy these. And people know my work as being heavy and sharp, and that's if they say your work is heavy and sharp, right? That's it. I've gone over the top, and that's what I love doing. So
That's when you're like, yes,
yes,
I
I
have
have.
fulfilled
This is
my
victory
purpose.
for me. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to get into, some of, some of my kind of like in general questions.
Hmm.
Um, so as a youngster, growing up, because like most of us that kind of get into art as more than just, a quote unquote backstage hobby, um, we're kind of, inspired at an extremely, young age, to really wanting to start working with our hands and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff, with the art. Who inspired you, as far as other artists? I mean, those could be like past or present,
Hmm.
to kind of like pick up the genre that well, I don't even want to say genre that you're into now, but just kind of getting you into art itself.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say that I really didn't start understanding what being an artist was until I really got into college and started studying it,
Hmm.
getting into some of my postgraduate work. Um, I really connected with the Dada art movement. That was
Hmm.
something that really struck a chord with me, as far as multimedia style work and things like that.
Hmm.
And then also I would say with ceramics, Paul Soldner was a huge influence on me because he specialized in raku, and that's something that I've just always loved. I've done that for many years. It's kind of the iridescent red ceramics and things like
Hmm.
that. Being able to merge the two mediums is when it just kind of took off for me. Being able to have ceramic pieces with a metal stand and that I'd created, that was that was a big move. And I had a few teachers in school also that really helped me. And I would say actually I learned more from my teachers in City College than I did my teachers at the university. They just seemed to have more passion for what they were doing. They just didn't care
Right.
about the pay and you know the, the status of being a professor. They just had a passion for art and they want to just give that straight to you. And that's what I just really appreciated that. So
Yeah, and it's special when you find that, because I think within the art community, it seems like there are two types. You have the really pretentious that, oh, I can't tell you that, that's an absolute secret. And then you have the ones that really just do it for the love of art. You know what I'm saying? If they've got like an audience to listen to them, hey, I found out this, or, try this. I mean, that is just that helps, like fledgling and inspiring artists a lot, because a lot of it is trial and error, but
yeah.
it is so helpful to have those more experienced artists to kind of help you out when you're first getting started.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And when we did have the gallery, we had shows that were dedicated just to local people, to young kids in
Hmm.
high school and things like that. And it just kind of really inspired them to continue what they were doing. So it didn't matter if it was dark art or graffiti art or whatever it was. It was just a place where they could come and display their work and feel inspired by that.
Right, right. And I know that you had, and I'm going to let out a little secret to our artists, you had a huge effect on one of our very own here at the
That's
PDD
very nice.
PBDC family, Miss
Yeah.
Liz. So, kind of get into that a little bit, how you inspired one of our very loved members here.
Well, we were both in a unique place because when I started, I was teaching sixth grade at that point. That was my first sixth grade class. Honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. So I knew what I loved and I loved art. So I brought that into the classroom. And I'm so glad that she was able to kind of run with that and feel the passion for that and to move forward with it. But again, it was I just knew what I loved. So I thought art history, things like that. And I gave them a lot of opportunity to express that
Hmm.
during class. Any little assignment, draw a picture with that, to kind of express it, because sometimes a picture will speak more than words, definitely.
Right. And Liz just said her experience, let's see, and we were the best sixth grade class ever to exist.
I would probably concur with that. Yes. It was there were only like 13 students in the whole class, so everybody knew everybody very, very well. And we just had a great time. And I was at the helm, but I really didn't know which way I was going with it a lot of times. But it was a fun experience that I will never forget too.
Well, that's good. And I think it's really meaningful to hear that even like you said, even if you weren't sure, really on some things and things like that, that you really positively affected other people, with your art. You spoke to them with your art, and I think that's just absolutely wonderful.
That's good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, and not to kind of jump around because I'm great about that. I love to ask a lot of questions, but you kind of brought it up. So you started with like the ceramics and things like that, and you had touched on it a little bit when we first came in about how you kind of moved to the metal work. Because I want to show some of these pictures
Okay,
here in just a
sure.
minute. What like there had to have been some defining moment when you were like, I can do something with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the first project I ever made out of metal, I don't have a picture of it, is a bed frame. And it was probably stood about 6 feet high, and it was all these pikes with very sharp ends on them. And
Hmm.
that was the first project that I ever made. And that was like, wow, I can really do this. So that was kind of my defining moment with metal anyway. And then once I did that, I started getting requests from people to make different things. So yeah.
That's very cool. So as far as moving into the metalworks, and again, I'm self-taught. I didn't go with like the classical teachings and things like that with the bachelor's or the associates in art. But with the metal, did you just kind of, was it like trial and error and things like that when you started kind of getting into that aspect? Because that can
It
be
was.
fun sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I learned it by watching a little bit of TV shows and things like that. Like I said, I kind of started doing automotive projects and learning just the basics of how to weld and how to cut metal. And then from
Hmm.
that point, it just kind of took off. So I'm not trained in that. I never went to school for it. It was
Hmm.
all self-taught. The only thing that I went to school for was ceramics. So
Okay. Well, I want to go ahead and I want to show our audience some of these pictures because there are a couple of pieces in here that are absolutely my favorite. And I think that a lot of people are really going to dig the art that you do. And then we'll touch on some other things after we take a look at those and maybe take some questions from the audience.
sure.
Okay. All right. Now, this piece right here,
Hmm.
um, can you tell me about it? Because I find it really, really interesting.
It's actually I brought that piece out. I'm standing in front of it right now. It is one of
Okay.
my favorite pieces ever because it's a collaborative piece. The
Hmm.
artist is Vance Hernandez, who's out of Fresno, California, and he
Hmm.
does altered photography. Um, I believe the name of the photograph that's in it is Radiation Annihilation. So he'll take
Okay.
photographs and he'll just alter them in Photoshop, and he makes these amazing distortions of things. So the piece actually is kinetic. It opens up. There's 3 panels to it. It has a lock, and it's sealed within glass in front. But his artwork is so frightening. It just inspires me to no end to make frames and things like that and to work with him.
Hmm.
We did a couple of shows together, and this is the only piece I have left because I refused to sell it. Every other piece did sell on the show. So
Well, it's a fantastic piece, and I definitely understand what you mean by collaboration because I think collabs they hold an extra special place in your heart because you know that two or more souls went into that piece of artwork. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
And
yeah.
and for it to be a piece that you can play with, like like touch and manipulate and open and things like that. Those are some of my favorite kind of pieces.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
so what about this piece?
This piece is called Saint Vigilo. It's a
Hmm.
themed piece I did for a show in Los Angeles where we had to invent a saint, and we had to come up with a backstory for the saint. So the backstory of this is it's the story of the Nephilim. I don't know if you're familiar with that story or not. I'll give you a brief overview of what it is. So it comes out of the Old Testament Bible, and what it is that at some point um, that demons came or angels fell out of the sky. They had sex with women, and they created these giants known as the Nephilim.
Hmm.
And the demons were so evil in God's eye that he actually locked them into hell. And so, if you're looking into the piece, what you see is a hand I created out of metal with spikes on it that's locked. So it's this demon that's locked in hell. And then the keys are up on top, just out of the grasp of this creature. It's a three-dimensional piece. It weighs about 60 pounds, and it's probably about 35
Wow.
inches high. Again, one of my favorite pieces. It almost sold a couple of times at the gallery, and I just really just wanted to hold on to it because I have so many hours into it. If you're looking at the different curls and things like that, it's a lot of
Hmm.
reclaimed pieces. So there's actually a drive shaft from one of my hot rods. It's actually part of the pieces. And I reclaimed those and put them into that piece. The velvet came from some curtains in our house. So, and it just, the hours of grinding and polishing that went into that, I can't even count. I probably have 60 hours into that piece easily. So, yeah.
Well, it's an absolutely beautiful piece, and I know from at least my experience, people don't realize how complicated it can be in the development stage, like when you're trying to put your thoughts into something when it comes to like
Yeah,
assemblage art,
yeah,
because it's like hunting for needles in haystacks, to
exactly.
find that perfect piece, and that piece is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and when you put it on paper, you're sketching it out is one thing, but you're trying to execute that with a very hard substance. That's a whole different story. So it's very time consuming. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Now this piece is really neat. Tell me about
Okay.
this piece.
So this is actually an urn. So I created it for a dog that we had. And so yes, that's a lot of polishing as well. So I probably have another 45 hours into that piece, but it articulates. There's a hinge on it. It opens up right where that little pin is in sort of the middle. And then the
Hmm.
ashes are inside. And it hangs from the wall with that metal crosses behind it. It's all kind of very Gothic style. So yeah, that's a piece
That
that's
that
close to
is
my heart too.
absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And I like how you have, and again, I might be mispronouncing this, but what comes to mind is the return to like the memento mori type art, that you can take something, like an urn, and turn it into something that I would be proud to have my ashes put into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very symbolic because it has that. It's one of those pieces again. It's extremely sharp and it's extremely heavy. So it symbolizes grief. You had a beautiful love
Yeah.
for something and now it is past, and it is, when you think about it, it hurts. So it has that. That's all part of it. That's all wrapped into it as well.
And Liz says you made something sad into something beautiful.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Yeah, I definitely
yeah.
tried with that.
And,
So
and I
yeah.
think I think that's a big thing with like dark, or it maybe even some people refer to as like deviant art and things like
Mhm.
that, is that even in some of the most horrific situations, there is always an element of some sort of beauty. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not all dark.
Yeah.
And I think that's, at least I'm assuming, that I think a lot of artists try to, which is a completely subjective, like, even statement, because art speaks differently to everybody, but that's what they're trying to impart, whether
Mhm.
it's fears within themselves, or that there is some beauty in darkness and that kind of thing. I really love the darker, more kick-ass art is the way I put it. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I understand that too very well. So yeah, I would completely agree with that. So yeah, there's
yeah,
always something beautiful and something dark, or I wouldn't create it if it wasn't that way, So yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
And I was wondering, oh, Oz back there behind the screen, do we have what I am just going to call the chastity belt? Yeah,
Yes, it
because
is.
I thought that was just yes. So much
So
yes.
mhm. Yes, it is. Yes. So that's a piece I created for a show, uh, as an erotic art show. It never made it to the show. I didn't finish it in time. There were some other stipulations within the show, but I just played it in my
Hmm.
gallery, and somebody actually they fell in love with it and took it home. So, but yes, it definitely has a lot of very painful things you don't really want to touch too closely on that piece. So, yes,
It has a
it's
lot to
a
say, Robert. It has a lot to
it does.
say.
Yeah, it does. It's yeah, it's beautiful and dangerous, and yes, it is. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So so let's go ahead and take a couple of questions from the audience,
sure.
and then we're after that we're going to go ahead and we're going to break real quick for our midway break. But let's see what some of our viewers have to say. So
Okay, sure.
all right, so John says that one of the pieces looked like a Dybbuk box. That's what it looked like. Yeah, to
Mhm.
hold a demon.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Very
Yeah.
cool, John. Let's see. I know there were some other ones in there. There we go. So Ashley says beauty is subjective. The dark arts definitely for me, and absolutely for me too as well, Ashley.
Good.
And then John says, who would hold the key?
For the
Robert,
chastity,
you gotta answer that one.
for the chastity belt, or for the Saint Vigilo piece. I'm assuming the chastity belt.
Well,
That would be
either
the
really.
yeah. For a chastity belt, I was assuming it would be the parents of whoever was in the belt. Um, for the Saint Vigilo piece, it would have been Saint Vigilo who was holding the key, so protecting us from
There's your
demons.
answer, John.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Kisa says you can find beauty in almost anything, I think. And I think you're absolutely right, Keisha or Kisa.
Absolutely.
I always want to call her Keisha. Let's see. John says, case for the Necronomicon.
Hmm. That would make a great case for that. Yes, it would.
Let's see. And then Ashley's really getting into your art, Robert. She
Oh,
says that's dope
nice.
as shit. Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Let's see. And is she wearing a mask? Who? Who, Ashley? Who's wearing a mask? All right, well, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break real quick, and then we'll be
Sure.
right back. And I'm going to deluge you with all these other questions that we haven't gotten to yet.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Steve the cat is in the house. Yay, Steve the cat. And he says, do you have a gas forge or do you heat the metal with a torch?
Actually, I just have a big hammer that I hit things with to bend them. I do have a gas torch, but I haven't used it that often. I've used it a few times to heat and bend metal. But for the most part, I just enjoy hitting things with hammers very hard.
Well, hey, so Robert is basically Thor.
I have a big
Let's
vice
see.
too.
Let's see. John says there's an old joke. A knight puts his lady fair in one of those. I cannot see the whole comment. Oh my goodness. Hold on just a second. Can you read that?
Says he doesn't make it a mile away when his butler rides up and says, "You gave me the wrong key." It's a joke.
All right, so let's see, where are we now? Okay, so my question with all the different kind of range that you do, what is your favorite medium at this moment, at this time?
It is metal. I love working with metal more than anything else.
Metal.
So yeah, yeah. That doesn't mean I ignore
Well,
ceramics. I just haven't done it as often as I do the metal work.
mhm. Well, I absolutely love your metal work to be very very honest, and your ceramic is absolutely beautiful. But I do like the sharp and pointies; they're very cool. Um, now I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but now you wear or you have worn many hats. I mean, you're an artist, you're a gallery owner, which I absolutely love the name of your gallery because I was a huge fan of the Night Gallery when I was growing up, and that was the
Yeah,
first thing that popped into mind.
that's where it came from. Yeah,
Is it? Yeah,
exactly. Oh
I
yeah.
love it. Very cool. Um, but you've done some other things too, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. I've been in bands. My wife and I were in a band for many years, so kind of a punk
Mhm.
band, and then that merged into like an industrial goth band. And that's kind of when Miss Liz knew me. Kind of during that time period, we were playing in clubs and things like that, and trying to teach and staying up too late at night. So that lasted another, I don't know, about 5 years, I guess. And then we just kind of went into full time. Well, not full time, but started heading towards artwork and doing the gallery and things
Mhm.
like that. So, but yeah, been a songwriter and play guitar bass and things like that. So that's from back in the
Nice.
day. There's a funny one. I'm the kind of the Charles Manson looking guy there over on the left hand side. So
Well, we used to have some amazing like industrial and golf bars down here in Atlanta, believe it or not. And the heyday for those, like I guess, is over. But gosh, I sure do miss them. I sure do miss them. They were so
it
much
was
fun.
it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, and so what was the name of your band?
Spiral Trance.
Si- I'm sorry. Tell me again.
Oh, Spiral Trance.
Spiral Trance. Very
Uh-huh.
nice. Very nice. So see, am I going to be able to search for that later to
You
look up you
probably won't
guys?
find it anywhere. Yeah, it's been a long time. I think we haven't had. We were on a couple of compilations for Cleopatra, and that's as far as
Hmm.
we ever got with it. But yeah, I think we disbanded about 2000, so it's been a long time ago. Yeah, I don't think you'll find it anywhere.
Yeah, and gosh, and time goes by so fast. I'm like, that was only
Yeah,
3 years ago.
I know.
No,
Yeah,
mother, that
yeah.
was 10 years. All right, and I know this may I want you to toot your own horn. So,
Okay.
what is the biggest accomplishment you feel like you have done? I mean, that can be either like in your teaching career or your art or what have you. What do you most proud of as far as what you've done?
That's a really multifaceted question. So,
Isn't it?
um, yeah, I really enjoy doing the music. I do miss that a lot, playing live and things like that. It's just that's one of the things I did. The gallery, I think, was probably our major accomplishment that we're very well known for. I loved
Hmm.
doing that. It was just galleries are a labor of love. You probably know. It's financially it's just not very viable. So that teaching was something I did for a very long time, and that's something that's probably one of my favorite accomplishments. Um,
Hmm.
and as far as art, I also did a piece that got I did a piece for Rado Watches, so out of I think out of Switzerland. So I was commissioned to do a piece for them. So that was one of the highlights of my artistic career. So I would say.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Um, now, so as far as so you were saying, as far as like right now, you guys are just kind of like putting out feelers. Are you planning on opening another gallery in Seattle, or are you just kind of gonna see where that goes, or
I'm
like
gonna
what's going on for you guys right now?
Yeah, so we're just trying to get settled into our house, and we're doing a lot of metal kinds of things for our house, and so we're kind of focusing on getting that done. I did all the stairs
Hmm.
in metal, it's all steel and diamond plate for all of our. So we're kind of scaring our neighbors, so we're busy doing that right now, and watching them look into the windows and scratching their heads and say, "People likely live like that." I'm like, yeah, we do. We love living like that. So once we get the house kind of dialed in, and then have my work displayed, we're going to start probably small and have little parties, people over, and things like that. I would like to get back into the gallery scene. We moved up here a couple of years before COVID hit, and so COVID just kind of killed a lot of things, including our galleries. And
Hmm.
so once things get back to what's a little more normal, I'm going to start pursuing and putting some of my work back into the galleries here. So yeah,
Well, and
that's
I
our
honestly
overall goal.
don't think that you guys are going to have any problem with that because it's amazing work. It's absolutely amazing work.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, I'm hoping that we can, I mean, I know it's a slow process, but I'm hoping we can get back to some semblance of normalcy soon because I miss, galleries and things like that. Like you said, they are so much fun.
oh yeah,
And and I did go onto you guys' Facebook page for the gallery.
yeah,
And looks like you guys had a blast there, an absolute blast when you were down in Orange County. So
we
it
did.
looked like a
Yeah, we
lot
met
of fun.
so many amazing people, built so many friendships. We still
Hmm.
have. And so my other goal is to get things back to Southern California, shipping them down. But again, my things are so heavy, and then getting them shipped down there without breaking or bending, that can be a challenge. But I still have those connections down there. I just need to get
Hmm.
plugged in and get my stuff down there. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely understand because um, UPS has gotten awful. Like I would almost be willing if it were my pieces, just like you said, to drive down there and drive them back up myself because I know
yeah,
that they're going to be taken care of. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't trust the shipping companies at all. So I've had bad luck with
they've
them
gotten
many times as a
awful.
gallery owner. So yeah,
Yeah, they've gotten awful. They really have.
yeah.
So where can if people want to view your art, do you and again, I know you guys are kind of in the, the whole like getting settled in and things like that. But are there places where people can find you or find your art or are you doing commissions or anything like that?
I said I think we sold out a little bit, but I am planning on getting these back together. I think the best connection would be Night Gallery and going to that page. It's
Hmm.
not necessarily active, but there's still some photos on there, so you can see some of my work. My other would just be my Facebook page. I'm older, so I haven't made the jump yet to any other forum. But anyway, so yeah, I would say Facebook. Get friend me on Facebook. I'm connected with Night Gallery. So yeah, that would be the best place to kind of find my work right now. And eventually, I'll probably try to get something a little more permanent out there. We'll have a website to look at some more pieces.
Hmm. Okay. And we'll definitely keep us updated on that because we will
We'll do.
definitely, be more than happy to share that out for you as far as getting the word out.
Okay.
Because it's really gotten hard with the way that social media kind of algorithms everything to really
Mm-hmm.
get your information out there. Um, so yeah, we will be more than happy when that happens to
Oh,
help you
great.
get the word out.
That'd be amazing. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I will definitely connect with you as soon as I get some things ready to go.
Not a problem. And I'm going to jump back because we still have a little bit of time.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you, where do you come up with your ideas?
That's a good question too. So it goes. I guess you go if you want to be Freud about it and go back to my childhood. I
Hmm.
remember growing up in Fresno, the summers were so hot that I would stay inside and I'd watch something called Action Theater on Channel 26. So they had all these old horror and sci-fi films. And so I grew up to watching Hammer horror films, which are still some of my favorite. And that's a big inspiration for a lot of the gothic horror pieces that I make. I then later I got into German silent horror and films like that. Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the Golem, all those things. Those are some of my favorites too. I still watch them all the time. So those are some of my influences, and that's where a lot of my work will come from. That you'll probably see some sort of influence. You're like, oh yeah, that looks like something I'd see on a Hammer film set. And so that's where a lot of it came from. But that's what I grew up with, and that's what I really, really love. So
Well, and I can absolutely relate because I have to tell you that Hammer and Amicus are two of my all-time favorites.
yeah,
And I could definitely see any of those pieces um, in one of the Hammer, like you said, one of the
yeah,
Hammer like layouts of the
yeah.
castles and things like that.
Yeah, if I could live in a a gothic horror film set, I would live there. That's always what I wanted in my life. So yeah, love that kind of
Same
stuff.
here. Same
Yeah.
here. Like I honestly, I still so we have a house. Okay, it was built in, and this is kind of off the point. We have a house built in 1909, and upstairs, in order to access the attic, the previous owners who had done some restoration in it
Hmm.
put a false fireplace, like the cornice and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then where the fire would normally go, it's actually a door. So in order to get into the attic, you have to crawl through. Well, it's a small attic space, but you
Uh-huh.
have to crawl through the fireplace in order to get into it.
Wow.
And it was so cool. Okay, here I
Yeah.
am in my 40s, and I'm like so excited about this. My husband thinks that I've lost my mind, and I'm like, Oddfather, we need a picture I can cut the eyeballs out of, and I can stick it on the wall that's on the other
Yes.
side.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I would love to do something like that too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm right there with you with that kind of
Okay.
stuff. Like there's still a huge, child within me when it comes to like
Hmm.
the old classic horror and things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. My garage is a special place because that's where I do all my creations and things like that. And I
hmm
found that under the stairs is a big void. And so I created a big iron door that looks like it's a portal to hell. So, and then I'm sure it scares my neighbors when they see it too. And it has big hinges on it. It creaks when it opens. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want in my garage is a portal. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
yeah.
So I guess right now it's just kind of because I've gone through most of my questions and things like that. Um, so do you guys decorate a lot for like Halloween? Like, are you gonna really scare your neighbors come October?
Our house is always Halloween, so we always scare our neighbors. But yeah, we do it up for Halloween a little bit. We have neighbors that go a little bit further out than we do, a little more cutesy, but we're not cutesy. Lots of skulls and things like that. So we're usually, I'm sure that people walk by and raise their eyebrows as they're walking by our house. But like I said, it's that way all the time. So yeah,
That's amazing. And John asked a really good question right now. Um, have you ever got creeped out by your own creations, like any of your own creations?
I don't know if I've ever gotten creeped out by one of my own creations, but I've gotten injured several times by my own creations. So yeah, so yeah, and I don't mind seeing a little blood, especially if it's my own. I know that the piece is baptized in, and it is good to go. So yeah.
Well, and what most people don't know is that happens a lot. Like
It
there's a
does.
reason that artists say that there's a little bit of their soul in every piece they
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, yeah. That's very true. Yeah.
All right, so let's see what some other people, some of our other viewers are saying here. Let's see. John says, I always wanted a secret passageway with one of those pictures too. And then Armand says that they like crawl spaces.
Yeah.
And then Angela, Halloween is her favorite.
Hmm. My favorite holiday as well.
All right, so Frank has a question. He's raising his hand.
Okay,
Is
Frank. Well,
okay, and
I've been thinking about this question a lot. You asked that the other night, like about a week ago, and I have to think because we have a cat whose name is Lugosi, so and he's still alive. So Bela Lugosi is not officially
ah,
dead. So yeah,
so see, he's going against what, let's see, what nature says, what Bauhaus says. So Bela Lugosi is not dead, Frank.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Kisa says, let's see, you're gonna have to back. What did Maud? What did Kisa say before? Let's see. Maybe he pops up like Elvis. Possibly.
Yes,
Possibly.
could be.
Let's see. And he drank the potion. All right. Let's see. John says, were those welded or brazed?
They were welded.
Welded.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. Let's see. You may have to read this one for me, Robert.
Okay, what got me into doing art was taking pictures and cutting them up and manipulating them and from a new picture. At one point, I was working as a professional photographer for a film studio, and that's how I learned how to do photo manipulation. Then I got into writing. My last story was written so well, it was recognized by two independent film directors. They wanted to turn it into a film, but my hard drive failed. Ooh, that sounds
Oh
terrible.
no. That's
Wow.
terrible, Damon.
Hmm.
Oh, let's see. Kisa says your doll you did that drools, Odd Mama, is beautiful. Well, thank you, thank you. I do a little bit of mixed media too,
Oh,
and
nice.
my palettes tend to be a little bit different. I don't use flat palettes. All right, so we're let's see, we've got just a couple more minutes. So I want to ask you, favorite color. What is your
Favorite
favorite
color?
color?
It's actually red
Uh-huh.
is my favorite color, but I always combine it with black. So red and black is my favorite combination of color.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Uh, favorite Hammer horror movie.
Favorite Hammer horror movie?
Yeah,
Um, hmm, Dracula's Risen from the Grave is one of my favorites.
very good, very good. Um, I don't know if it was Hammer or Amicus because both of those are so close. I think
They
Amicus
are
has more boobs
probably.
than
Yeah,
Hammer, but
I
that's
think you're
really
correct on that
about
one. Yeah.
different.
Then Hammer started doing
Um,
more boobs later, so to compete.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, they absolutely did. Um, is Doctor Sadist, what is it? Castle of Blood. Do you remember that one? It had
I
Christopher Lee in it.
gosh, it sounds super familiar. I know I've seen almost all of them, so I probably have seen it. I just can't remember. So,
It used to scare me to death when I was a child because they
oh
had to,
wow.
it was like, the normal, like, damsel in distress
Mm-hmm.
and the gentleman, the royal gentleman, and they have to go through this forest with like all these arms and legs like
Mm-hmm.
hanging in the forest.
Oh wow.
um yeah, it was pretty
Kind of like
dark
Texas
for,
Chainsaw Massacre a little bit. Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of, and they were all like in that technicolor, so the arms were like blue and
Yeah.
you but it used to absolutely terrify me. But those are good films, and anybody out there that hasn't, which I don't know if there's anybody out in our TV land that hasn't watched a Hammer film. They're just a good classic movie. Um,
Yeah.
and when I get like a writer's block not a writer's block, but like an artist's block, like I just don't know what I want to do. Those will help.
Absolutely. They always do. Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, go back. So let's see. What was the other one? Let's see. Kelly here from Under the Stairs. So this is our resident D-Face. She is a haunter out of Texas. And her mask is absolutely amazing, Robert.
Nice.
Let's see. And then Kisa says Poltergeist scared her.
Okay.
And let's see. Liz says dolls scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. They do a lot of people. That and clowns.
Clowns. Yeah. Clowns
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of my favorite artists, her name is Clown. She goes by Malady, and her artwork is known as Clown Coffins. But all these amazing oil paintings with clowns and mixed with bunnies. So it's like a clown bunny, but they're doing these weird historical things like with the pyramids and things like that. Just really cool stuff.
I've seen those. I know what you're talking about, and they
Okay.
really, really are neat.
Yeah.
They're really neat. Let's see. Ever make anything you love so much that you would never sell it? I think you've answered this, but yeah, that's her question.
Yeah, I do. The two pieces would be the large silver piece that's hanging on the wall. So that one and this piece as well. So those are the two pieces I would really have trouble trying to sell. So yeah, and plus that one as well. So yeah, it's up a few.
Very cool. You know what? And I would. Oh yes, this one. I absolutely
Yes,
loved this one. Tell me about this one.
that is a collaborative piece with an artist named Jeremy Cross, who's actually from Bakersfield, and he was our
Mhm.
curator for our gallery. And then he moved down to Long Beach. So that's his painting in the middle, and then I did the frame for it. But yeah, one of my favorite pieces that he's ever done. But he has a lot of work that's inspired by old sci-fi and horror films and things like that as well. Amazing guy. If you can ever get him on the show, he is a whole lot of fun to hang out with too.
Oh, I'm sure. And I absolutely love it because it's got the old, and I know you're going to know what I'm talking about. Back in the day before social media, every city had that one area or space all of us old punk rockers would go to, all the like band flyers stapled onto, like the telephone
Yeah.
poles and things like that. Um, it's got that vibe. It's got that old school like horror punk or psychobilly vibe to it. I really like it.
Yes. Yeah. He has some pretty amazing work, that's for sure. So, yeah.
He really really does. So if you were to, let's see, what am I trying to verbalize this as? If you were to make a piece, like what is your, like, is there this like a one piece that eventually you want to do? Because man, you could go like in so many directions with the metal work.
Mm-hmm. I've always
Does
liked
that
making
question even
large
make
scale
sense?
pieces. So something that somebody could walk through. That's what I love, making pieces that are very, very large scale. That is
Oh,
frightening, scary, and sharp that they would walk through. That's what I want to make someday.
that would be cool. That would be cool. They would have to be very careful though, wouldn't they?
They would have to wear a hard hat and gloves when you walk through, but yeah, definitely be an experience for them. Yeah.
And see, I could so see you doing like Man in the Iron Mask. Have you ever been commissioned to do one?
I have not, but I've made a piece that I don't know if you have a picture of that one or not. It was another wall box. But
Uh-huh.
I made a skull face and I hammered it all out and created a skull face that goes in it. It's Santa Alcuna. So that's the piece right
Yes.
there. So yeah. So that skull is actually with a flat piece of steel, and I just kept hammering it and bending it until I got it to be that shape, and it all fits within that piece. And all the little pieces around the halo, those are all X-Acto knife blades that are welded into place. And I cut myself a million times trying to put that together too. So it was a
Oh,
lot of work.
how neat.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. And I know you kind of touched on this, but on average, again, how long does it normally take you to do one of these pieces, like on average?
It depends on how much like how detailed it is. Like that piece, it took a while because of the intricacy of all the little X-Acto knife blades that had to be welded into place. But the
Mm-hmm.
overall finish work didn't take that long because there's not a lot of polishing involved with that metal. It was all rust except for a few pieces. So the more polishing that's involved, the longer it's going to take. That piece probably took me, I would say, about 20 hours to complete.
Wow.
But yeah, so it varies between 20 and 70 hours, I suppose.
Well, it is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And again, your work is just so outstanding. That eventually I'm going to have, when I get into position, I'll have to hit you up and say, hey, can we talk about a commission?
Of course, you can talk to me about a commission. I would love to do something like that. So yes, absolutely.
And let's see, we've got about 3 more minutes. So let's see what else everybody else has to say, because I could talk your head off for the rest of the night. And I know you probably have things you have to do. Let's see. So See the Cat says, I have such respect for people who see everyday objects and basically finds an artistic purpose to use them in their art. Yeah, because we were talking about it a little bit earlier. The assemblage part of like mixed media, whatever material it is that you're going to work in. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to not only put that into like headspace, but then actually find the pieces that are going to work, and then you got to make them stick.
It does, and you have to be a bit of a hoarder to do all this kind of stuff. It's not, and you have to have an understanding partner or spouse that will allow you to do those sorts of things. So, or you have to have a really good hiding place to hide all your junk. So, yeah.
There you go. And let's see. Oh, so Maud says we need a metal Mr. Applewhite, and he would have to be like, what is it? Monty Python says, with sharp, pointy teeth.
Yeah. Send me an image. Yes, there you go. Okay.
There you go. Yes.
All right.
All right, guys. You guys have one more question, and then we're gonna have to go because we have had such a good time tonight. But I know Mr. Robert is a busy man, so we gotta get one more good question here. Let's see. I wonder if we've got a delay a little bit. Everybody is just silent.
That's fine. Totally fine. I get it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, tell us one more time. Again, I know that for anybody out there that's just joining us, oh, Liz is looking because we've had a lot of comments that have been flying through there. Okay. For anybody just joining us, Robert Brown, he's a fantastic artist. Now he is in the process of getting set up in a different area. But how do they find you if they want to check out some of your art? I know that there's a place here on Facebook that they can do that, and then you'll be updating that, I know.
Yes, yeah. So if you actually just kind of go through the website to Night Gallery, you can find me through there, and then I'm connected to that. So that's the page that I have. So yeah, that would be the best way to get in contact with me. So straight through there, you can message me.
Very good, very good. Well, guys, you guys please go check out his work. It's absolutely amazing, sharp and pointy and cool. And we appreciate you joining us here tonight on the Mother De La Morte show, and appreciate Mr. Robert Brown for joining us. And we hope you have a great rest of the week. And pleasant nightmares, everybody. You want to say bye to everybody, Robert?
I do. Bye. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It was an honor being here. Great meeting you. Please stay in touch, and I will send you some new work as soon as I get it done.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, guys. You guys have a great week, and thank you for joining us.
Okay. Bye.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Your head